Thanks for joining me at the Richard Meier House on Devon Road in Essex Fells. It's an absolute treat to be here. It's, I think, going to be my favorite listing of all time in my whole career. And I was really excited to bring Pierce here and to have Marvin and Rene Clawson, who are my architects who did my house renovation. And they were waxing prophetic about all the special details about the house. So anything else you want to add or that we didn't talk about already?
Well, just how wonderful it is to be in the space itself and to be seated and to really understand the ambiance that he created. So what a special treat. So thank you very much for inviting us today.
I just think as architects we could geek out forever in here. It's a real pleasure. I worked actually in the same building that his office was in, and had those brushes with fame in the elevator, and we've always enjoyed seeing his work. Wherever we've traveled, there's typically ends up being a Richard Meier building, and we have definitely gone to see it.
We have.
It's exciting also that he and his contemporaries are actually all from New Jersey, which is fun.
And two are from Maplewood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? There's a book, 5 Architects, and believe it or not, Michael Graves, of course we all know he's a Jersey boy, and then Peter Eisman and Richard Meier are actually second cousins, and they both grew up in Maplewood and went to Columbia High School. So, they're known in town, but there aren't a lot of buildings by them around. So it's a real honor to be able to just see this. We've heard about it, but we never actually found it or looked it up or anything. So when I heard that we could come and see it, I was just,
Thrilled.
I don't think I hesitated.
You did not. Well, the interesting story is that, yes, he built this for his parents, but the current owners used to drive by on their way to work. And one day, the gentleman just knocked on the door, and Mrs. Meier answered the door, and he said, "I love your house. If you ever want to sell it, please call me." And so she gave him a tour of the house, and he left his phone number with her, and subsequently she did eventually call him, sold it to him, and it's been in their family ever since about 1977. So they're only the second owners, but really I call them curators because they did preserve it in perfect condition, and they adored it. And it's ready to go to the next owner, and hopefully it's someone who appreciates and loves it as much as the previous 2 owners.
I think it's definitely a house for someone who wants to be a steward of the home. It's very special, and it has a very special place in architectural history. And I think that to be a steward of this house doesn't mean you can't change anything. It just means that you have to be thoughtful. Hire the right people.
That's it. Now, I have a 1929 Tudor, and they made it look like everything I did in my house was original. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to see a bright white kitchen in a 1929 Tudor, and I didn't want to see, modern elements that don't really belong there. And everything we did, including the recommendation of the landscape architect, made it look like my stone walls have been there for over 100 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you can do here. Like we talked about, putting radiant heat under the floor to warm it up a little bit, or more carpet too. But even if you wanted to do a second story addition, there's potential. You can make it your own.
Well, you have the original plans.
Yes, we do.
And so having, knowing a lot about the original plans and the intent and the design, there's so much history out there about Richard Meier. I think you've got 2 books right here, and that's just the beginning. There's so much out there about him. To be able to do something that really reflects and is not a copy of him, but just really is a nod to him and honors the original design. Could if somebody didn't want just this the way it is, which I would definitely take it just the way it is, you could certainly do some enhancements. I wish the weather was nicer so we could go on the roof, because it does have a roof garden.
Yeah, which is a beautiful feature. Something that, and it's overlooking a wonderful landscape of the golf course next door. So being able to get up and get a different perspective of the surrounding area would be an absolute amazing experience.
Well, the current owners were major golf aficionados, so this house fulfilled basically all their needs. And it's an honor to be here too. It's a real privilege to represent it. And I just want to say thanks for coming and cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Wonderful martini.
Thank you.